Alright, here's the CV joint. We're going to pack it with some fresh grease. The boot here is kind of stuck onto the joint, so you got to kind of knock it off. So I did kind of a trick. Put that screw in there. Held that. Then I kind of held it like this. Basically put a couple fingers on there to provide force that way. And then held this guy with the other couple fingers. Give it a couple good whacks. And it came off. But if you have a bench vise or something, that'd probably be a lot better. Alright. Try to remember which is inside and which is outside. And I already rotated my CVs recently. I think it's the difference between automatic and manual. I have an automatic transmission, and so you can rotate them so that you'll wear more evenly. Oh, and before you open this thing, definitely clean it up first so there's not too much grit before you pop this thing open to pack it. Okay, got it back together on my living room table. Got some grease in there. Be sure you don't move those joints too much or they'll come apart and the balls will fall out. That's a lot of fun. Now I'm going to go put it back in, I guess. Alright, I was wrong. These big 22 millimeter bolts are 101 foot-pounds. This guy that goes in the backing plate on top is 13 millimeter and he's 14 foot-pounds. And these two 17 millimeter go into the bottom of the back plate, 17 millimeter, and they're 47 foot-pounds. Alright. Basically just put everything back together. Got my new cylinder. Anyway, I had to use my original springs because the new ones were too long. I just hold this thing in really tight, really hard as far as you can, then just kind of spin it in the back to get it locked in there. The other real trick is getting that in there. That's kind of a pain, but put the shoes in the top side first and then pull out and seat them in the bottom. That definitely makes it a lot easier. Other than that, it's just a lot of trial and error. Alright, we're going to knock the backing plate back on there, and then I'm going to use a little bit of thread locker. I already did it on these guys. I'm going to do it on this guy, possibly on this guy too. That 13 mil that goes into the wheel cylinder. And then I'm going to put all the brake hardware on, and then when you put the drum on, be sure to clean it off with some brake cleaner, and you're probably going to want to put some anti-seize on this face that matches up with the hub so that we don't have to use so much force next time. And if you get any grease on your shoes when you're handling them, probably a good idea to do a little sanding, a little sandpaper on there to get that grease off, because I certainly got a lot on when I did the other side. Also, get you some of these little guys that go into the back of the backing plate to cover the inspection holes. Something else I was happy to do was take my Dremel with my little wire brush on real low speed and clean off these threads a little bit because they were pretty nasty. Alright, now you gotta adjust your brakes a little bit. Make sure your shoes are kind of nice and centered up and down. There's the same amount of space here that there is down here when you're putting your drum on. Then it'll slide on there, and you have this adjuster, and obviously it's going to get tighter. It only wants to get tighter, based on that one-way gear. And so when you rotate it that way, if you put your screwdriver in the hole in the back, which I'm just using a Phillips, sticking it back there, and I'm rotating it like this, or I'm rotating it like this, so that it'll catch that big part of that gear. And anyway, get it relatively close, put your drum on there, and then spin it, and there should be apparently a little bit of drag. Thomas has a good video on this, but and he says pump your brakes while you're doing it to self-adjust. I don't know what that means or how that works, but maybe that just means centering the pads around the circumference of the drum, but anyway, that's it. And obviously before you do that, you gotta bleed your brake lines.